standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon and welcome on your Sunset Safari, the only place in the world where you can travel on a live safari right from the center of the African bush, from the comfort of your cozy living room chair or your sofa, or indeed your bed, or in fact your office chair if you are being naughty and distracted at work. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have Jandre on camera with me. We're coming to you live from Djuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains Game Reserve in the Sabi Sand in the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa. And we are currently trying to watch an elephant. And our elephant is not making life very easy for us because he's in the middle of some very dense vegetation. It's hard to believe that an enormous animal, the biggest land mammal in the world, is able to hide so efficiently behind the leaves. But we are also an interactive safari, so if you have any questions on our elephant friend that you can see so clearly, or any comments that you'd like to make, you can send those through on #SafariLIVE on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Hello, my boy. It is a lovely balmy day, with a constant threat of rain at 23 degrees centigrade, which is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. That sounded suspiciously like some kind of weather woman. I'm going to try and not do that again. And what a glorious... It actually really is lovely. We had a little bit of rain. Actually had a lot of rain. When we were driving home at the end of the sunrise safari, Jandre is nodding emphatically. When we were driving home at the end of the sunrise safari after, you know, I was covered in mud by Ryan, which, by the way, I thought was most courageous, and he gets one free pass. One free pass because he was here as a guest. Oh, there's Brent. I think he's looking for me. That was a little bit loud. It was unfortunately loud. Hold on one moment. Standing by. I haven't even gone into the details of what we're going to be looking for this afternoon. Oh, Ellie gone.
Yeah, he walked off somewhere in there.
Copy. I'm on Gallagher shortcut now. I will make my way around there. Right, so the reason Brent was currently distracting my attention from all of you on my crucial part of my introduction, is quite all right, we forgive him already. The reason that he was trying to call me was that he's got really fresh lion tracks, so of course he's forgiven, because that's really exciting. So last night, apparently, I've been kind of out of the loop, because I've been sitting quiet as a mouse on the back, trying not to get in the cameraman's way. I did a good job, didn't I, Jandre?
Very good.
Very good, thank you. Sterling job. Not nearly as good a job as I did on my bracelet, which I've already lost. Anyway, moving on. Last night there were some lions around the Djuma Pan that were heard hunting buffalo. So if you are a new viewer, we've got a camera up that watches a waterhole 24 hours, 7 days a week, provided it's working, which it seems to be. And there were sounds of lionesses hunting a buffalo. They then crossed to the north of our boundary before the start of the sunrise safari, But, and here's the kicker, half an hour after we finished the sunrise safari, one of them came back, and we were going to go and look for her, because there's no better way to carry on with what I presume is a Tuesday afternoon. It's kind of difficult to keep track, because, well, all our days are the same, which is wonderful, and I'm not complaining, but I never know what day of the week it is. But I think it's a Tuesday afternoon, and I can't think of a better way than to spend a Tuesday afternoon with all of you, and to enjoy some special moments out here in the African bush. So let us go and see what wonderful things we can find. Aha. And while we have a look at our air elephant, which still, you know, we might actually get a view from the hyena den now. While we just have a look at our Ellies, I forgot one important, crucial part of this whole conversation, and that was while Brent and I were at home, about 400 meters away, less than 400 meters away from the Djuma Pan, there were guinea fowl going absolutely mental. And go-away birds calling. And we sort of dismissed it as an eagle, but I think we might have been wrong. Or a bird of prey. I think we might have been wrong. Dominique, there you go. That's sort of in answer to your question about what other distress calls might alert us to the presence of predators. Squirrels, alarm call at predators. Monkeys, especially. Monkeys are very, very liable. A kudu alarm call or bark, nyala bark, bushbuck bark. And elephants, even elephants like the ones that we're looking at now, can be, how do I put this? They certainly make their displeasure known in a very vocal manner when they find a predator. Even though that predator is not a threat to them, they very often trumpet and scream and make a big fuss and chase that predator away. And they were actually doing that when we set out this afternoon. It's a big herd. It's a much bigger herd than I thought. It's not just one lonely elephant hiding behind the leaves. There's grey shapes moving like ghosts behind the leaves. And perhaps our best approach, because I would love to spend a little bit of time with these elephants. They are absolutely fascinating animals. I think our best approach is to go around towards the hyena den. Since we cannot off-road for elephants at the moment, since the drought has wreaked such havoc upon the land, and we don't want to add additional pressure to it. However, there is an old road here that we can use towards the hyena den. I think we're going to go and check that. See if we can't get a better view. So for new viewers that are jumping on board and don't know terribly much about this whole concept, it is, as I said, a live safari. In my opinion, it is the best way, short of being on an actual safari, of experiencing the African bush. But I am biased, but I think I'm right anyway. It is live. These animals are 100% wild. They have become habituated or used to the presence of safari vehicles, but they are still wild animals and we treat them as such. But we do get to, we're very, very privileged in that we get to spend the majority of our day-to-day life with these magnificent creatures. And lo and behold, I think they are all at the hyena den. How marvelous. Old hyena den, by the way, not occupied at the moment. Hello, little one. Can I come through? You're going to get a fright. You're going to be good, eh? Calm. Very calm. Okay, all right. Yes, we'll just pretend that you didn't get a fright and that you were actually reaching for that branch. Sure, I'm fooled. Definitely fooled. And the fact that you just stripped a whole load of dried leaves that you had no intention of eating was not in any way pretend. I love elephants. There is something so easily relatable about them. More elephants trumpeting in the distance. And this little one. In fact, I think this might be the same herd that we had with Ryan this morning. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that it might be. Exuding a little bit of liquid from the temporal region between the eye and the ear. And what that means in terms of learning to read elephant behavior is that something has stressed this little elephant in some way. That being said, you almost always see them with some kind of secretion. They get upset at, if they get frightened by a francolin flying up next to them, then they'll start to excrete from that gland. Or if they are having a marvelous time chasing impala around, they will excrete from that gland. It's just more of a mood teller than anything else. And as our little one starts to move off into the bushes, I have been monopolizing your attention for far too long on this glorious Tuesday afternoon. Let me relieve you of our time here and send you back across to Brent. Oh, no, not back across to Brent. Send you over to Brent for the very first time this afternoon so that he can say good afternoon.
Welcome to the Sunset Safari. Look at that, a leopard-faced vulture and 2 white-backed vultures. Now, on a hunch, I've backtracked to where those lion tracks came from, and there's a lot of vultures here. So there might be a kill here. Leopard-faced vulture is the biggest vulture species, and not one we see too often. So I wanted to stay a little bit far away and give you a view before we go closer. And of course, Dave and I are still trying to get to 50 birds in a game drive. We got to 25 this morning, so lucky for us, we get 2 for 1. 2 species to start off the bird, but I think we might find a lion. Okay, so there's vultures all around. So we're just going to look very carefully through here. And the fact that there's a lappet-faced vulture here makes me think that it's a substantial kill, if there is a kill, and it's not finished. So I just took a hunch. We don't often drive down this little area, but those lion tracks came out from this area. And those tracks that Aubrey called in this morning, I mean, we've got tracks going in all sorts of directions. And with that little bit of rain, we might have missed the freshest tracks. So I think there might actually be, the Nkumas might have a kill somewhere in this area. Now, as I said, we don't see lappet-faced vultures too often. So I'm going to snap a quick picture. I hope you guys are doing the same. They are incredibly impressive birds. Definitely not the prettiest bird around, but impressive nonetheless. Okay, let's keep looking. So there's 4 vultures in that tree. There's another one here, and the other thing is they're sitting quite low. And then there's a bunch of vultures over there. So it is possible that somewhere around here, this morning, or how many of us were driving out? 5, 6 of us driving around, missed that. Because of the rain, we might have missed tracks. So I'm quite excited. Still looking. I'm going to do a little loop around the block, but I'm pretty convinced this many vultures. It is possible sometimes a vulture sees another vulture and just sort of descends because it thinks there's something there, but I don't know. I've just got, my gut tells me there's something going on here. And I nearly forgot, my name's Brent, and that's Dangerous Dave on camera behind me. And welcome to Safari Live. And we're on the hunt for something, hopefully, that's been hunted last night. So while we scour this area, let's go back to Jamie and the pachyderms.
Back again with us and our stunning elephant sighting. It's such a peaceful moment spent with these really amazing animals. I mean, a cow walk right up to the vehicle. Look at this girl. She is absolutely huge. She really is. She's enormous. She's old. Just look at the indents around her temporal region. See how caved in it is there. You can see she's an old girl. Big, long tusks, really thick tusks for a female. Prominent bones, prominent parts of her spine. She is absolutely the grandmother of this group. She's beautiful. Imagine what this elephant could tell. I mean, I would guess and say that she's over 40 years old. I might even stretch so far to say about 50 because she's starting to lose condition. She's starting to get a bit thin, like her teeth have worn down, and that, of course, happens to old elephants. They don't have any more teeth to replace their previous set, and they start to get thinner and thinner just because they struggle to completely chew their food and therefore digest it. And that is a natural process. It's a natural way of things with elephants. And I wonder if I actually don't think she would be the matriarch anymore. Usually when elephants get really old like this, even if they were the highest ranking member of the group, the leader of the group, they would usually sort of step back and let a younger elephant take that role. But I wonder if she was the matriarch once upon a time, taking care of and leading in this herd, making decisions for them, disciplining the youngsters. I wish, if there were any animal, it's okay, little girl, shame, got so distracted by feeding that she didn't realize that the whole family had moved on without her. And now she's stuck with these strange human beings. There you go. Oh, itchy ankle. Oh, and they've picked the most difficult path, haven't they, girl? Quick, quick, off you pop. Go catch up with them. What I was going to say was, it's a conversation we've had a few times on various safaris, and that is absolutely, if I could spend one day being able to talk to one animal, I believe it would be an elephant. Or I suppose one day being an animal, being in the mind of an animal, but just being able to talk to them. I would love to know and understand what these animals are thinking and saying. We know a little bit. Perhaps we understand 20%, maybe if we're really optimistic 40% of what's going on in their minds. There's a great deal more that goes on. Beautiful. Well, that, I think, unless there is a straggler, which I don't think that there is. Don't think there's any straggling elephants coming behind. There might be a big bull moving through in the distance, but it doesn't look like it. That, I think, spells the end of our elephant sighting for now, because we're right in the middle. It's only thanks to this road that leads to the hyena den that we were able to follow along here. And we're only able to do that because of the road. We won't be able to follow them through here. So, for now, it spells the end of our time with elephants, but you never know, there may well be more of them around, and we will always stop and enjoy some time in their company. Alright. Oh, it's a Gallagher shortcut den. The place of the 20-point U-turn. Alright, here we go. Let's do it. Getting very practiced at this in this den. Now, I did mention that we had a bit of a downpour earlier, and as most of you know, South Africa is in dire need of rainfall at the moment. Now, Rick, unfortunately, it's sort of what we predicted might be the case when we did see that it was going to rain. Unfortunately, we probably had about 2 mils, I think probably, 2 mils in total over the last 24-hour period. So not really, unfortunately, it's not really enough to make a huge difference, and I'll show you, because we'll probably end up at Buffelshoek Dam at some point, so I'll show you how little water, or how little the water level has changed. And especially now, unfortunately, we're at the worst stage, going into the worst stage now, because it's going to start to get hot as well as dry. So now, mid-July, it's cold, days sit around the mid-70s Fahrenheit, that's okay. But when we get to August, September, the days are going to start regularly going up to well into the high 80s, 90s in Fahrenheit. So for those of you who use centigrade, over 30 degrees centigrade. And what that means is all of the water evaporates much faster than it might otherwise. So I'm feeling a faint drizzle now. The only thing it really serves to do is make us slightly damp and slightly colder, and means we have to put the rain covers on every now and again. I don't think we need to just yet, but we're okay for now. But it still feels wonderful. It really, I mean, I don't mean to be negative, but it still feels really nice when it does rain. It's so refreshing. It just washes away the dust layer that's been building up. The birds rejoice, the animals rejoice. It may not have made a big difference in terms of helping the trees or the grasses or the dams, but it certainly feels a lot nicer out here. Just that little bit touch of moisture in the air. And already lots of insect life, seen loads of termites out and about, birds all singing away merrily. It sounds as though while I've been distracted by elephants, Brent has been very busy doing something. Let us head across and hear from him what he's been doing in order to enrich your safari experience.
Look at this. We found the whole Inkahuma Pride, and not only are the older cubs, the younger cubs are here as well. So all 6 Inkahuma cubs are here. Now the lioness is calling them. They were sleeping in the little thicket there. She's calling them. She's walking down. I've just had a few glimpses of them. The older cubs are there. You can see them on the floor where those lionesses are. But the little guys are also here. So they did catch a buffalo. It looks like they've eaten quite a lot of it already. So it was just in a deep drainage line, And thank you to the vultures. And so I think the rain, we missed some of the tracks. Let's just try have a look where the cubs are. I can see, are those the older cubs or the little cubs? Those look like. Oh, there's still some cubs at the back there, Dave. Oh, they're the little ones. They're the little ones. To the right. And zoom. Over to the left. Oh, I think they're just behind the tree for you. There we go. You can see that little bit of movement there. They're the tiny little cubs. Mom's calling them back to come up to the buffalo kill now. Oh, look at that. Hello, little ones. Okay, Mom's going to probably bring them back to the buffalo kill. So what we're going to do is go wait there and let them come to us. Always very important, let the car run for a second so they get used to the sound of vehicles. Oh, it looks like Mom's going to stop for some feeding. I'm just going to try to get into a good position. Isn't this exciting? Okay, look at this. So the cubs have been introduced at a younger age than the other cubs to the rest of the pride. Let's have a look. Mom's calling them. There's one of the older cubs that's more used to the vehicles. I'm just gonna... There's one of the littlies. You can listen to them. Mom's gonna call them up. How's that, Dave? They should come up to us now. They're playing, actually chasing each other around. Yeah, they come, Dave. Here come the little ones. Hello. So there are the littlies. Oh, so cute. Where's my camera? They're so fluffy. There they come back again with Mom. They got a fright when a vulture took off. And this is one of the older cubs with the mom of the little ones. Oh, isn't that sweet? And here we go. This is one of the slightly older ones walking straight up to us. Oh, they are so cute, the little fluffies. So this is one of the older ones. The little one's a little bit off to the left. They just got a fright when some vultures took off. And the vultures actually look like they're having an argument. And you can see they're chasing each other around. Not those ones. There we go, there's one coming in. Oh, there we go, she's lying down. She's going to call the cubs up to her now. We're just going to sit very quietly here next to them. And the little guys are so fascinated. They're just watching the vultures fly around. Come, littlies. So these are the 3 that were at Buffels Hook in the drainage line that flows into Buffels Hook Dam. And it's incredible how fast they grow. Lion's milk is so rich in protein. And I know I said this yesterday, and it's a little bit unfair to the sticks, but I definitely think the Nkuhuma cubs are better looking. See, they're getting more comfortable. Just a pity that very big leopard-faced vulture took off at the wrong time. And see that? Mom's going to call them again now. So I think this is probably their first excursion out of a den. They could account for their slight nervousness. I can see 2 of them. Can you see through the little gap there? Where is he? I think a little bit too much to the right, slightly. Oh, it's just behind the bush for you. Oh. We're just going to sit here very patiently. Judith says she doesn't think it was the vultures. It might have been my squeal of excitement. Well, that too, Judith, coupled with the fact of a dark shape hovering above. And the leopard-faced vulture is a very big animal. I'm just going to... You got a gap there, Dave? Let's see, there's... I think it's... Just go in here. There. There they are. So they are coming back out of the thing. I'm sure Mom's going to start calling again shortly. Or the other option is one of the cousins is stalking them. And there we go. That little one there, look. That, oh, no, lay down. Now, Lael's wondering, would a large vulture, like the leopard-faced vulture, be able to take a cub? Now, they have been recorded hunting before, but it is very unusual behavior. But yes, a vulture of that size would be able to take off with a little baby lion cub. Very, very unusual, especially if there's a carcass around. And I think if they tried, they would get a very angry mom. I've actually seen a lioness catch a vulture midair as it was harassing her around a carcass. So we are going to have to be a little bit patient, and I'm pretty sure they're going to come up again. They're watching Mom carefully.
Just got one behind Mom here.
Oh yeah, that's another one of the older ones. Hi, Robert. Robert's wondering, what is the average number of cubs a lioness normally has? I'd say probably average 2. They can have as many in the wild. I think the most ever recorded is 6 in Kenya. And, I mean, those Styx lionesses, they had 4, which is quite a large litter. 2 or 3, and sometimes even 1. But I'd say on average it's probably 2. Oh, she's calling. Sorry, I've just got to be on the game drive. Afternoon, Aubrey. Got Nkuhuma on Nyaribamba off Weaver's Nest next to Pangolin Track Junction. myself here, Vernon making his way. I'm making a 2-vehicle sighting. They're a very small Mampimpan, so there's 6 Mampimpans here at the moment. Oh, also here. Okay, wait. It's nearly Palila though, but it was a big Mafazi. Here come the little ones. Here they come, here they come, here they come. Copy, thanks, Orbs. Hello, hello, cousin. There you go. Look at that, isn't it just too cute saying hello to cousin? It's gonna come up to mom now. They're going to start running. You can hear them begging. Oh, there we go. Now, guys, this is, I reckon, the first time the cubs have been introduced to the pride. And they're no more than about 10 feet from us. I think she might want to take them to the kill to get them to start eating meat. Going to be, see, they're going to follow mom. They're going to walk literally about 3 feet from us. Look at this little thing. Hi, guys. So this is the first time they've come close to a car. Look at them. They're watching carefully. We're going to go with the bigger cousin, feeling a bit safer there. Here comes the third of the small ones. No, they're literally right behind Dave. They're watching us. Look at them. Oh, they're so cute. Scamper, scamper. So, I'm not going to move the car yet. I'm going to let them get towards the buffalo carcass where they feel comfortable before I move. This is one of the older ones. So, oh, ow. So awesome. So, this is incredible. Okay, I'm just going to wait for all the cubs to be next to the mothers before I move the car. Okay, so while I'll wait for them to settle down, we're going to go back to Jamie and the elephants, and then I'm going to get us into a good spot to see all the greeting that's going to be happening shortly.
I am both terribly jealous and also really truly thrilled that you have got to experience that sighting with Brent. Okay, I'm a lot jealous. So is Jandre. Jandre is a lot jealous as well. But that's okay, because we've got the elephants as well, so what could be better than bouncing between lions and elephants, the two best that's not what I mean, the two sort of most famous animals of the African bush. I have to ask you, before we talk about our lovely elephant bull, what you think is funnier, the antics of the cubs, or do you think that Brent's reaction to the cubs is funnier? Because I hear that there's much squealing. To quote Jerry, who is directing us on this lovely afternoon, to quote Jerry, Brent is being such a girl about this sighting. So obviously there's some seriously entertaining things happening there. Well, he has decided, back to our elephant bull, that he wants this ranch, and he absolutely is going to have it. Really lovely example there of the tusks and trunk being used in conjunction with each other to break that tree apart. Very, very efficiently done. In the space of 2 seconds, the bush willow was lost about 1/3 of its size. And now, like most of the elephants at the moment, he's popped it into his mouth to perform that conveyor belt-like chewing motion. Aww. Come on, boy. You could do better than that. Ah, there we go, back in. It's okay. We all make a mess when we eat every now and again. And what he's going to do is chew the bark off of this particular branch. And what I'm hoping he's going to do, although... Oh, okay. Fine, fair enough. I'm just going to throw it down. Disregard it. Obviously wasn't the yummy branch he thought. Going to try this one instead. No. Yeah, not worth the effort. He's going to eat the leaves instead. And munching away upon his bush willow. Oh, no, he doesn't want those either. Oh, you fusspot. What is it you're after? A bull elephant that is trailing a breeding herd. Not the ones that we encountered earlier, a different herd of elephants. There have just been elephants everywhere at the moment, which we are most definitely not complaining about. I'm just going to thoroughly enjoy. And a lot of them are being followed by these large bulls. And he's still young, from what I can see of him. Still a young gentleman. No, and he's decided he's going to take his bush willow and walk away. Now, I would hate to keep you away from those lion cubs for longer than necessary, so let us head back across so that you can watch lion cubs and hear Brent squeal.
Look at that, isn't that just to die for? Now, I'm going to just be patient. The little cubs keep moving way down towards the drainage system, and that's why I think it's the first time that they've been introduced to the pride. There goes Mom, got to go fetch them again. They were with her, and they move away. They got bullied a little bit by a cousin. Yeah, she's calling them again. Just hear her calling them. But then the other ones are having a normal rough and tumble. Hi, Jean in North Carolina. And Jean's wondering, is there a buffalo? There it is. The retired buffalo. Young male by the looks of things. And Jean is wondering if this is the one they might have heard on Juma Cam last night. Jean, I think this is a bit far from the Juma Cam. So I think they might have attempted it on the Juma Cam and not succeeded. Oh, the baby's coming back. They're listening to Mom. They're about to pop into that gap there. So just there they are. So as soon as the cousins start getting a little bit sort of rough, they're not really used to it, Mum will call for them again now shortly. I definitely think this is probably the first day that these cubs have been introduced to the pride. I'm just going to move forward a tiny bit. How's that, Dave? There we go. So you can see the three older ones getting stuck in. Listen to that noise. Hungry little tykes. Look at that. Look at that. Sorry I'm being a bit quiet. I'm just watching carefully what's going on. Mom's off to go call Sorry guys, just got to be on the game drive quickly. Yeah, standing by. Taxi, you can make your way Aubrey as well if you don't want to go down to CP. I'll make space for you and I'll just come back later. So guys, there's quite a big queue waiting to see these little cubs, and because it's the cubs are young and it's the first time that they've been introduced to the pride, so they're a little bit nervous still. Mom's wandered off to fetch them. Can you see Mom still, Dave?
I don't.
I think she's just behind. Yeah, there she's coming back with them. There she is. Copy. Look at that. Oh, there's 2. Now where's number 3? So I think that single lioness that appeared on the Juma cam probably went for a drink on her way to fetch these cubs and bring them to this buffalo carcass. So at about 2 o'clock, Jamie and I heard a lot of alarm calls below our house, and I think it was this lioness taking the little cubs to here. Now, if we look above where the lions are, there's another vulture species for the birds, right above them. There we go. So the third vulture species, a hooded vulture. Okay, so I'm just going to reposition so we can get a better view, hopefully, of the tiny little ones. I'm going to still keep my distance from them. It's fine when they come in, but it's, for us, if they come towards us, it's okay. But if we force them or drive too close to them, it might cause them to run away again. So I'm going to keep my distance. If they come close to us, that's grand. But, of course, we want to get these guys habituated as possible. So while we move around slowly, we're going to go across to Jamie, and I've got to just be on the Game Drive channel. Sorry, Taxi, yeah, you'll see me from Weaver's Nest.
Oh, we're still with our lovely elephant herd, and just have a look at this girl before she disappears off into Buffelshoek. She's missing, I would say, what is that, about 2/3, probably even more, of her right ear. And I was just about to reposition to get you a good view before this little bull decided that he wants to come running across the road, and I don't want to scare him off, because it's obviously her calf that's coming through. So off you go, little one. I'm sorry, my beanie's ridiculously in the way this afternoon. It's all been very tragic since the demise of the pom-pom beanie. Okay, that's a bit better. Now we can reposition just to have a look at that ear, because it is fascinating. And I would love to know, where are you going now, boy, before I do turn on? Now, I could go forward, but all it would do was actually unsettle this gentleman who's decided to come carrying his lunch with him, and food on the go, which is what a lot of the elephants are doing at the moment. He's got one tusk. We've got an elephant with less than half an ear, and one tusked elephant bull. What happened to you, boy? How did you lose that tusk? He might have been born without it, but it's very unlikely since he already has one tusk. It might just be that he snapped it off in some way, broke it. There might even have been a fault or a crack in the tusk when he was born, that then whenever he tried to use it for its usual tusk jobs, such as digging or snapping a branch or something similar, it might have come off in that kind of an accident. This female, on the other hand, I don't know what would have happened to her ear. It's fascinating. I've seen a few of them around, but I would say you don't see them that often. And it's clearly, that is clearly an injury. She wasn't born that way. Something caused her ear to tear off like that. Now, my suspicion, one of the thoughts I had, was perhaps she had a nasty cut, because a lot of the elephants have nicks and tears in their ears. The skin's much thinner than it is on the rest of their bodies. So I thought maybe she might have had a cut that got infected, because infection can eat away like that. And that might have done it. But honestly, I'm really not sure. Maybe even a lucky escape from a lion. It's possible. In their long lives, there's lots of things that could have happened to her. That I don't think, unlike our snared trunk elephant, our short trunk Ellie, that we've come to know and love, that I don't think is human-made or inflicted. Human-inflicted, I think, is a better word. I think that just happened naturally. But I'd love to know what it is, because it makes her so incredibly distinctive. Has she only got one tusk as well? There's no tusk on the left there, is there? No, there isn't. So one tusk and less than half an ear. What's happened to you, bug girl? Alrighty. I know that Brent's time with those lions may well be limited. And what we're going to do is we're going to send you back across to Brent and his pile of lions.
So we're just sitting here very patiently. You can see all the adults have got nice big full bellies and looking particularly healthy at the moment. The Nkahuma ladies. Oopsie. They're all calling. And you see the lionesses, when she lifts her head like that, she's actually looking at a vulture. Now, if a vulture happened to come try land around this carcass, they would probably get quite upset. Now, the normally very relaxed cubs are a little bit nervous, and that's just because of the behavior of the little ones that aren't used to cars. So they obviously think that the little ones have seen something that they haven't seen, so they start behaving a little bit nervously. But this is how you habituate them. Just sit quietly and let them come to you. So both Taxon and myself are sitting quite far away from the little cubs, and we'll just wait to see if they come close to us like they did a little earlier, and that was absolutely incredible. So that's Mom of the older cubs, and they've gone to join the little cubs, but Mom is calling them back. Oof, flop. Now, Sarah's wondering, would the females leave the little cubs together when they go hunt, or would they separate the older and younger? They would leave them together. Now that they've joined the pride, you can hear the great go-away birds when they've spotted the lion as she stood up and walked a little bit. So they were alarm calling at her. So it's really awesome. The Nkumas are going to be bolstered by 6 little ones. Hopefully all of them make it through to adulthood. And it's going to be interesting to see how many boys, how many girls. Now, for the success of the Nkahuma Pride, more girls is better. Because boys are quite dangerous to have around, especially because of male lion coalitions and takeovers. But little girls are the future of the pride. I'm guessing there are at least 3 girls, I'm hoping. Maybe even 4, but if there are, then that would put the Nkumas quite close to 10, which is a big pride for the Sabi Sands area. we're just going to sit quietly and patiently. I'm pretty sure the cubs will come back, but as I often say, patience is the most important weapon when you want to get those really good sightings. And being out in the bush, you do learn patience. Sorry about the shuffling, I'm just trying to move something without making too much noise. Here we go. All sorted. Oh, and flat she goes. She's happy that the cubs are safe. They're with the other lioness a little bit further away. And as I said, we're not going to push. We want those cubs to be nice and relaxed. And the best way is to just sit quietly and patiently. Hi, James. And James is talking about the fact that we mentioned that the Nkuhumas were on there. Look, here we go. There they're coming back, playing. See them? Oh, wonderful. So often it's just taking the time to sit patiently and wait, and she will bring the cubs back to the pride. Now, James, to answer your question, look at them. Oh, they're so cute. The reason they didn't stay on that elephant carcass for too long, it's really risky because that's a sort of source of meat that'll be around for a long time, and lots of vultures and things there, and it will attract, quite often will easily attract a nomadic male lion, and that's a huge threat to the cubs. So they normally will never spend too much time on a big carcass like an elephant. That's going to be there for sort of over 5 days, and especially if they've got young cubs like these with them. Oh, it's so cute. Running after Mom. There's Mom there. I think she's gone to fetch the third cub. Disciplining. So Georgianne is wondering what's the approximate age difference between the two sets of cubs. I'll probably say about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Georgianne, it's very difficult to be exact. And here we go, here comes Mom. So the cubs should follow her. Get ready with those screenshots. So, there we go. Look at that. They're so cute. Oh man, yeah, they come. They're coming right up to us. Again, this is where it's important. You let them come to you and you don't force yourself to them. And all the cubs are coming back. Listen to them, you can hear them. Unbelievable little guys. Hey guys. Got lots of cousins to play with now. Checking each other out. So how many we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still one cub missing. I think it's one of the older ones. Standing by. I think so, Tex. Sorry, guys. I affirm, yeah, there's 3. Yeah, I'm not sure, but there's the 3 new ones. They're not as relaxed as the bigger ones. Sorry, guys, just chatting to Tax. So Tax has got an interesting theory that these could be different cubs than the ones at Buffelshoek. I affirm now down towards the Skova. Okay. So guys, we're going to make space now. We will try come back a little bit later, but we have had such a fantastic sighting of them. So the next vehicle's coming in, and it looks like they're going to go asleep now at the moment. Oh, it's just too cute. I hate to leave them, but we must share, and we can come back a little bit later. So while we make our way out of here, I'll definitely try come back a little bit later. Remember, we can't stay till too late because we don't put spotlights on cubs, but while we make our way out and give Vernon a chance, let's go and see how Jamie's faring.
I've just been pottering about. We can't all have a magical lion sighting with cubs sort of bumbling up and down. What did Brent call them on the fireside chat? The delectable little monsters, I believe it was. So his delectable little monsters sound absolutely adorable. Anyway, we haven't been up to too much. We're heading across to Djuma Dam because, surprise, surprise, there's some more elephants there, and I want to go and have a look at them. A nice open patch. The rest of our elephants have gone north into Buffelshoek. Just going to turn that Game Drive channel down. Now, yesterday afternoon we had the lovely Taylor on her interview drive here, and we went over this bumpy patch of dried up mud on this road that's always been incredibly uncomfortable to drive on, and she called it African massage, which I thought was hilarious. I think I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal that line. It's a very good one. So there we go, African massage. How does that feel, Jean-Andre? Like you've just come back from the spa? Fantastic. Rejuvenated. It's a very nice way of putting pumping up and down. So, you know, the bush is full of spa treatments. I have my muddy facial this morning, whether I wanted to or not. We had the bumpy road massage. We should be marketing this. People would pay us money. Oh, wait, they do. It's called the safari. Never mind. So moving on through these drainage lines, I haven't really got a plan for this afternoon. The last 2 drives I've just been on the back of the vehicle with 2 different people that are completely new to this area. Thoroughly enjoyed the time spent with them. However, it does mean that I've sort of lost track of where everything is because I haven't had a radio or a Game Drive channel or anything like that. I'm just reacquainting myself with the area from this driver's seat as opposed to from the back and seeing what we can see, which is not elephants just yet. There is a buffalo on the other side, but there are no elephants. I bet they've gone into the drainage line system. It looks as though they might have moved off, but that's okay. We will go off in search of other things. I believe I promised a visit to Buffelshoek Dam to investigate how the water level is doing, so we might go and head across there at some point. I didn't check that I can't see these eddies, but I don't think so. I think they've gone, yeah, they've gone into that really thick patch. Oh well. It's not as though we haven't been spoiled with elephants already, so let's move on and head across to Buffelshoek Dam. I'm not sure if Brent was chatting about Taxton's conversation with him on the Game Drive comms. Taxon isn't convinced that those younger cubs are the ones that we've been seeing at Buffelshoek Dam. Oh, exciting stuff happening with our wonderful lions. Might just mean that that lioness was able to... might just mean that she was able to keep those cubs alive. So essentially, we always suspected that there were 3 rather than 2 sets of Nkahuma cubs, because there were 3 lionesses. No, we knew. There were 3 lionesses with suckle marks. But the one was busy mating with one of the Birmingham boys, clearly trying to get away from him. 2 of the Birmingham boys, actually. First one and then another. And we weren't sure, because Steph saw that the suckle marks had mostly dried up when he had her mating with the Birmingham all the way on the eastern side of the reserve. Now, he suspected well, he thought it was possible that she'd lost her cubs. I wasn't so sure. I thought that perhaps it was just sort of post-birth hormones confusing the male, and the female just instinctively reacting to the signals that he was giving her. And that, of course, combined with the fact that a lot of females do mate with males when they've just had cubs, because it just enforces that message to the male lion. Because male lions they're very basic creatures, like quite simple creatures in terms of the way that they go about things, and it just reinforces to them that they mustn't kill these cubs because they're theirs, just in case they needed a little bit of a reminder. So females often mate with males after they've given birth. Leopards do it as well, apparently. I've never seen it, but apparently they do. So it's interesting. We haven't confirmed it, obviously, but that's actually one of the reasons why I'm on my way to Buffelshoek Dam, because I want to just go and investigate and see whether there's any sign of the lioness going into that drainage line. I assume you had all 5 there at the buffalo carcass, but it's worth going to check either way. And we'll only really know when we see 3 sets of cubs together, so whether or not she's managed to keep them. But Brent seems to think that these cubs are a bit too, or Taxon actually, seems to think that these cubs are a bit too skittish to be the ones we've been watching at Buffelshoek Dam. But who knows? I certainly hope so. I'd also really like it if we could spot an animal for you. They're all hiding. Miserable, what's actually not miserable weather. There's a big waterbuck.
There's a yellow behind.
While we look at our lovely bull, who has frozen under the, not anymore, I was going to say under the force of the fierce focus of our camera, just before we chat a bit about him. Ryan, you are absolutely right. Jean-Andre said exactly the same thing, funnily enough, and that was, since Brent found leopard cubs, lion cubs, sorry, I now have to find leopard cubs in order to make him jealous. Very valid point, and I can promise you that I will be doing my utmost to deliver upon that. But for now, true to every single drive I've done over the last few days, we have a waterbuck. It seems to be the relatively standard pattern for my drives over the last few days. Lots and lots of, basically what I'm telling you is there's lots of waterbuck around. More waterbuck actually than I expected to see in this area, especially as we go into the drought. Beautiful big bull with his heart-shaped nose, and actually quite a large indentation between his 2 horns. And I love sightings like this. He's really nice and relaxed. It's actually quite unusual to have them this close. It gives us a really nice opportunity to examine him from the ridges along his horns, which are quite awesome. Obviously they're smooth out, so the ridges at the bottom are much more prominent than the ridges at the top, and that's because it grows, obviously the horn grows out from the bottom of his skull and upwards towards the tips, and it causes those ridges to smooth out through wear as they get closer to the top. He's also got a few battle scars on his sides, potentially injuries from... Actually, he's got to turn a little bit more sideways for me to be able to show you what I mean. But he does have some scars, some holes in his coat, and as I said, potentially from a battle with another waterbuck. And like all of our animals out here, whilst he is relaxed and feeding, constantly on alert for the possibility of a predator. I haven't seen that waterbuck that we saw a couple of days ago on our live safari, on our sunrise safari. Female with a torn ear that had obviously had a narrow escape from predators. Not sure which predators, but definitely a narrow escape. And now our waterbuck bull giving us a lovely view of his white circle on his bottom. One of those bizarre mysteries of the bush. Why the waterbuck has a ring around its bottom. Nobody really knows. Supposedly it's a follow me, basically what they call a follow me sign. I'm not 100% convinced that I buy that. And his tail working furiously to get rid of the flies. A part of the lechwe family, or related to the lechwe, and recently I read a really interesting article about, now lechwe is not an animal we get here. It is more towards the wetland areas of Botswana and into Zambia, the river systems. They're much more geared towards a much, well, similar to the waterbuck actually, much more riverine area. And there's a recorded case now of a lechwe breeding with a waterbuck, which is really fascinating. Makes sense. Very closely connected to each other in terms of their level of relatedness, but obviously more so than we realized. It sometimes happens with Tsetsebi and Hartebeest as well, that they interbreed. Some of the members of the antelope tribes are so closely related to each other that they do manage to breed with each other. Almost inevitably, those offspring are infertile, similar to a horse and a donkey breeding and producing a mule, because the chromosomes don't quite match up. Right, thank you, Mr. Waterbuck. I think we're going to move on. Leave you to your afternoon, late afternoon tea, I suppose. Nibbling next to the termite mound. Actually, this is quite a beautiful scene. Really striking, with the tree that is going to die. The elephants have made short work of that, stripping away its bark. And that tree is finished. And it's sad in a way, because this tree is probably, I don't know, I'm no expert at aging trees, but if I had to guess, I would say that this tree is a good 30, 40 years old. And the elephants have removed the bark around it, stripped the bark away. And then a little tree at the base of the termite mound, a little bush. It has an enormous relative, a huge tree that Ryan spoke about this morning on the sunrise safari, but this is its little cousin, the dwarf boorbeen. There we go. The dwarf boorbeen. No, dwarf boorbeen. I've appear to have lost my ability to actually get the sounds in words where I want them, which is quite a problem. And welcome to Mohammed. Before we actually leave our waterbuck, Mohammed would like to know, because Mohammed is aware that there is a distinct smell to the waterbuck, but was wondering if that is a defense mechanism. You are absolutely right. There is a very, very distinct smell, and Jandra and myself can smell this waterbuck from where we are sitting. He has a gentle, James describes it as a goat smell, and I think he's absolutely spot on, although it's like an oily goat. That's what it smells like, an oily goat. And it's not a defense mechanism. It actually comes from the glands within the skin itself, the sebaceous glands. They secrete an oil that waterproofs the fur, because waterbuck, as their name suggests, often spend a lot of time in water. So it waterproofs the waterbuck, kind of like a waterbuck wetsuit. But it does mean that they do start to smell, because it's got a very, very pungent odor. That, however, has no effect on whether or not the predators like to eat it. No, they're not like us. They don't have the same senses of smell or taste that we do. Yes, their sense of smell is very sensitive, but they are not revolted by the same things we are. Now, there is a rumor that the lions and leopards don't eat waterbuck because they smell funny, and it makes the meat taste funny. It's not true. Their meat presumably tastes like any other animal's meat, and the smell doesn't bother the lions one little bit. They certainly cannot, no animal can afford to be fussy out here in terms of what they choose to feed on. So whilst waterbuck are it is not a defense mechanism. All right, so while our fluffy waterbuck continues his meal, Brent has had to leave the lions. I wonder what his plans are from here.
So we are checking for Queen Karula. Queen Karula is the dominant female leopard here on Djuma. And I'm just checking along the southern edge of our traverse area. Suicide! Suicide! Oh no, we just missed it. Sorry about that, I got so excited. It was a suicide bird doing the suicide dance. So it's a red-crested Koran. I'll show you a picture of one now. And at this time of the year, to impress the ladies, the males do the suicide dance. So they take off, they fly directly into the air, and they just close their wings and they plummet. And just before they get to the top of the trees, they open up again and land on the ground. And whoever opens the lowest to the ground is obviously the most daring, most dangerous. Ooh, we got some birdies. And, oopsie. Obviously the most daring bird gets the girls. But we've got some lovely little birds here. Did you see them, Dave? I've just lost sight of them now. You got them. Very cute little things called blue waxbills. Little seed eaters. I think that's bird species number 4 for this evening. Very, very cute little guys. Now what else? I thought I saw another bird just beyond. Let's move forward a tiny, weensy little bit. But look how close this one is, Dave. And not often that these little guys stay so close. And we've got the birding camera with us at the moment. Look at that. Whoa. See how they're feeding off little grass seeds? They've fallen off the stalks. I said, very, very nice to see them this close. Normally, they're a little bit far away. Oh, Dave, I've got another bird for you. And this tree here, the bigger one. And, oh, I've lost, there he is. See him hopping? Just so zoom left-hand side, yeah. There you go. That's a southern black tit. Little insectivore, feeds off spiders and insects. How's it for? Good, thanks. Any updates from your side? Okay. Inkomen ze ja vertellen. Nyoni. Any sign of Karula? We haven't had Nkonzo for 2 or 3 days. Oh, she's avoiding us. So they've seen no sign of Karula in the south. We've seen no sign of Karula in the north. I wonder where she could be. Oh, the light is fighting to break through the cloud. This lovely, soft, diffused light we're experiencing at the moment. Now, the last tracks of Karula were down around Twin Dams, Elephant Carcass area, which is just down there, basically, in that area down there. But maybe she's got a kill in the middle of the bush, and we haven't seen her. I'm going to take a little meander around there, have a look with binos and all the trees. Sorry, just going to be on the game drive quickly. Standing by, tax. Negative, I didn't see them, niece. Copy, thanks very much. Okay, it sounds like there's some hyenas that have arrived around the lions, but we're going to go see what else we can find, and then we will be back a little later. Oh, just before we go across to Jamie, another one for the bird list. Off it goes. Oh, there it goes. I don't know if we can count that, Dave. What do you think? Oh, there's another one there on the edge there. It's a southern black, a little bit closer to us. Have you got one? That is a southern black flycatcher. There we go. Can you hear them calling? Very cool little calls. But, while we continue our endeavours searching for birds and beasts, let's go see what Jamie's been up to.
I'm going to continue on my endeavour to search for birds and beasts. We have left our waterbuck for now. He trotted off into the distance, and Jandre hopped off to go and smell the termite mound to see if he could get the smell of waterbuck imprinted in his brain. No smell. Jandre says you can't smell him. Jandre thinks he might have showered before he went past. He did. Oh, it did rain. You are right, actually. Very valid point. So perhaps that's why he's not as pungent as he might otherwise be. Okay. Continuing on our bumbling adventures, I think we're going to go through to Buffelshoek Dam and see what's cracking there. There's always something interesting happening at Buffelshoek Dam. And of course, as Ryan said, we need to find leopard cubs now. Brent's done the lion cubs. It's time for us to do the leopard cubs. Feels like it's been a really, really long time since we've seen Karula, the female leopard with her two adorable little cubs. Jandre spotted something. I have not spotted something. What have you seen, Jandre? Oh. Well done, Jandre. Very impressive. Most impressive. He's a huge warthog. The one thing that Ryan and Taylor kept commenting on while they were with us, and I'm going to reposition for a view of this warthog in a moment, is the sheer size of the warthog in the Northern Sabi Sand. And they really are absolutely enormous. The sows and the boars alike. Very, very big, unusually big warthogs in the Northern Sabi Sand. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just genetic stock that happens to favour slightly bigger individuals. You wouldn't think so, because the food supply here is not quite as good as it, or as rich as it might be in the areas towards the rivers. Stay, Warty. Stay, Warty. Come on. You're a huge warthog. Big, big warthog. Jeepers. It's a female as well. It's incredible. Look at the size of her tusks. Ooh. She is absolutely enormous. And those very, very long tusks, a product of genetics and also a product of age, since warthogs' tusks do, like elephants, it's just a branch, like elephants, grow throughout their lives. Let's try and get another view of her, because she's huge. It's also been really nice to enjoy some more relaxed warthog sightings over the last few months. In the years, well, just over a year since I started working here, it really feels as though the warthogs have got more relaxed in our presence. Not all of them, of course, but we have been able to have more nice, long warthog sightings. Oh, girl, you're making life difficult. It's okay. I'm actually going to try and go past her and then stop just ahead of her. Supposedly one of the ugliest animals of the African bush. I think with their luxurious blonde mane, it's a rather unfair reputation that they have. Okay, look, they're not winning any beauty contests, but they are truly fascinating, and I don't think they're ugly. Or maybe you could call them so ugly that they're a bit cute. Their bristly, thick hair when they get a fright, there's a reason that they have those manes. So essentially, when they get a fright, when they get scared, they do what's known as piloerection, similar to the nyala when they do their display. And what that does is it puffs up their mane of hair, and it makes them, if you think about how long that mane is, some of the hair on that is sort of this long. If that stands up, that creature that the predator is now looking at has almost doubled in size all of a sudden. And that makes them look far scarier. And so they are, actually, with their sharp tushes. Their tusks are used for digging. They're not all that sharp or dangerous. But the lower teeth, the lower tusks, are where the warthog's truly deadly secret lies. And they can be responsible for some relatively serious injuries. Off she goes. A solitary sow, living all on her own. You usually find the females in family groups, but it must be that this year's offspring didn't survive, and that she finds herself without companionship for now. Okay, bye girl. She's on her way. I think that will be the last good view we got of her. But it is fascinating that both Taylor and Ryan, on their drives, remarked about the size of our warthogs here in general. I don't know what it is about the Northern Sabi Sands. The only thing I can suggest is that it's genetic stock. That they just happen to be bigger than the other warthogs. But I have seen some males here that must weigh close to about 100 kilograms. So 220 odd pounds. Very stocky animals. Chandra is on form, except my beanie is not. It's in the way. Chandra spotted a yellow-billed hornbill to keep us busy. I wonder what... I love watching the way that they move their heads. Because, of course, they've got that enormous blind spot in the front of their face. They've got their eyes on either side for good peripheral vision. But their front-on vision is, well, non-existent, essentially. A blind spot in front of their nose. So if you watch the way that they're constantly tilting their head to spot something, and, oh, I think he spotted something. Where'd he go? Oh, there he's on the ground. Oh, if I reposition now... he's going to fly away, I think. Let me try. Let's try. I think he caught something. Let's go see. That's what I mean. It's using the very keen... And birds do have really good eyesight. They've got better eyesight than we do. And we see, and I can't remember, what do we see? How many frames per second do we see in John Ray? Do you know? As a cameraman? Oh, it's there, by the way.
It's behind the bush.
Behind the bush?
Yeah. Look on the monitor. It's behind the bush.
How is that physically possible? Are we looking at the same bird?
On the one on the ground, but he's eating something.
That one?
Ah, no, we're looking at a different bird.
You had me seriously impressed that somehow I was beginning to think I'd developed X-ray vision there.
Sorry about that.
It's quite all right. It's absolutely fine. You've got to keep me on my toes, Andre. That, of course, was just to make sure that I'm working on my camera angles and so on. Oh, you were looking at that one. I see. Most impressive. Sorry, what was that? 64, did you say?
60.
Around 60 frames per second. And I think birds see in double that. So I can't remember exactly how it works, but they've got the most incredible eyesight when it comes to movement, which is, of course, how they catch their prey. Here we go. I think this time Jean-Andre and I are on the same page in terms of hornbills. There's two hornbills in case you needed clarifying. One is a red-billed hornbill, and that is the one that we're looking at the moment. Right. Bravo, Jean-Andre. You definitely had me phenomenally confused.
I wonder why you popped us behind the bush.
Yeah, of course. Sheer confusion from our side. Look, there's a yellow-billed. It's there. Here we go. Oh, there. Going down to exactly where the red-billed hornbill is. Interesting. Sorry, just a small observation there. Yellow-billed, whilst they're almost exactly the same size as the red-billed, they are that little bit bigger and a little bit more dominant over the red-billed hornbill. So you saw how that yellow-billed flew in, and immediately the red-billed took off and moved away and gave it space. You've got a very clear hierarchy between the yellow-billed and the red-billed hornbills. And you can see that just in terms of their beak size. And the red-billed just ever so slightly smaller. And isn't it interesting the way that they've evolved two different species that are so similar to each other? I mean, coloring is essentially the same, except for their beaks, their bills. And the shape of the bill is exactly the same, it's just the size. With red-billed having slightly thinner and yellow-billed having a slightly fatter bill. And I don't know what it is that has led to that evolutionary difference, but there clearly must have been something that caused two different species to evolve in exactly the same habitat. They obviously have a common ancestor, that much is clear, and the grey hornbill actually. We can't really discount it. The grey hornbill is exactly the same size with a grey beak. And they don't breed with each other. They live in the same habitat, they eat the same food, and yet we've got three different species with three different coloured beaks. What on earth provided the selection pressure to evolve three different coloured beaks? I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that question. It's just something, these are the funny questions that come into one's mind. It is, of course, half the joy of driving out here. One of the biggest reasons why we enjoy doing the job that we do is that we know we don't know everything. Not anything, we don't know everything. And it keeps us well and truly entertained constantly. I'm also kind of hoping, Karula's been making a few forays up into this section of the reserve. I'm also hoping that with the presence of the lions, instead of going south, which is what I think she's probably done, I'm hoping that she might have come north instead. So this is where the mating lion pair was, actually. Is it worth stopping yet, Jandre? You did mention that it's going to be a stunning sunset. We're nowhere near sunset just yet, but we do have quite a nice view. The sky is thoroughly dramatic. Clouds, of course, always make everything much more moody and atmospheric. As does the cry of the arrow-marked babbler. Oh, noisy birds. Very cool. The interesting thing while we've been sitting, and it is nice when you're in the bush to just stop and sit and listen every now and again, because it does provide you with clues as to what's happening around you and where all the animals might be. But what's been interesting while I've just been sitting listening to these arrow-marked babblers cackle on, and I'm actually going to turn around and see if I can't find one for you. I can hear 4 different groups of babblers. You won't be able to hear it, obviously, because of the way in which the mic is situated. But you might be able to hear some louder and some softer. And essentially, there's 4 different groups of them all babbling at each other. That's hence the name arrow-marked babbler. It is a bird. And it's just interesting the way they're all responding. And I suspect that's serving a very, very fierce territorial function, that call. Of course, they've all gone completely quiet. They probably all vanished as well, but let's try. Somewhere here. That's not ideal. They were closer to the road. Unfortunately, they have now moved into a distant tree. Perhaps they'll call. In fact, I think I've lost them all. Sorry, Genre. They were in exactly where you're going, but they appear to have all ducked into some dense vegetation. Oh well, it was a nice idea while it lasted. Yes, Jerry, I missed you. She just asked if I missed her. She was busy with other things, but she is back. Lo and behold, Jerry is back. Rejoice, everybody, Jerry is back. Just a gentle giggle in my ear. Very sweet. All right, Jerry, we're on our way to Buffelshoek Dam, and for all of you as well, we are on our way to Buffelshoek Dam to see what we can see. And while we get there, let us find out how Brent's time in the bush is treating him.
It is an absolutely gorgeous evening, and it's really soft light. Now you'll notice how yellow the light is compared to what it's been in the last couple of days. And that's that tiny little bit of rain we've had just settled to dust. And it means that you don't get that really red sunset. So the really, really red sunsets are generally when there's a lot of stuff for the light to reflect off in the air. So lots of dust and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite a yellow sunset, quite different, and always pleasant. I love the different moods that nature has for us. Oh, birds, 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 Dave. Birds, 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 birds. You see them? Oh, there's more birds. Oh, okay, those ones have flown away. There's another little one come out. Oh, there they are. Up at the top. Yep. Where's he gone? Oh, they've made an escape. They are up there. Just trying to see if we can spot one. There we go. Okay, come down right in this. There we go. Zoom there. A little bit. Oh, it took off. Well, our birds fluttered and flew away. So apparently Jamie has got a bird for you on the other vehicle.
I have a really awesome bird for you, and we have Genre to thank for this incredible spot of a pearl-spotted owlet. And it's making the fork-tailed drongo next to it very, very cross. Keep hearing cheeping from right next door. Not quite sure what to do with itself. And drongo... Oh, what drongo? What drongo indeed. So the fork-tailed drongo has now vanished. And this tiny little pearl-spotted owl is going to provide us with a treat. So just listen to this. Okay, so I'm going to whistle to him, and he's going to whistle back, or her. Oh! Bye! Aww! Wait, let's try this again. Did you hear that? He responded. He's calling back to me. I love pearl-spotted owlets. They are so cool. I don't know where he's gone though. having a conversation. I'm having a conversation with a pearl-spotted owl. Actually, to be completely 100% honest with you, I think I might be having a conversation with a fork-tailed drongo, pretending to be a pearl-spotted owl, which is very rude, and is, of course, what fork-tailed drongos are famous for. So our pearls, that was a pearl-spotted owl. I think they're my favorite owl. They're about this big, just into a couple of grams. I mean, they really are. They're basically the size. Listen, are you a drongo or are you an owl? Please make up your mind. I swear that's the drongo calling. It's the best thing. Isn't that amazing? We've got one, because the pearl-spotted owlet did respond to us because they're territorial. So it wanted to intimidate us by calling back in response. But then the drongos jumped on board with the whole game. They think this is merry, merry fun and time to practice their pearl-spotted owlet call. And they've got a whole wide variety of different calls that they make. I wish I could find one for you, but they're being a bit difficult. I'm going to try one more time. No, I think our conversation might be over. Oh well. Drongo, that was a poor attempt. I'm not even sure if you could hear that, but it was a very poor attempt. Didn't sound anything like a pearl-spotted owlet. Alright, on we go. I love pearl-spotted owlets because they are so entertaining. You can actually, you get it right. If you do get it right, you can actually call them right up to you. You've got to be careful with bird calls. You've got to do it very carefully. First of all, I don't know if you could tell, but I was trying to whistle quite softly. That's because I don't want this little pearl-spotted owlet to think that there is some kind of giant pearl-spotted owl making the loudest call it's ever heard and fly away because it's terrified. But at the same time, I want to be able to sort of give that demonstration. Actually, now that we've left, that little pearl-spotted owlet will probably think that it won against another pearl-spotted owlet. But you do have to do that very ethically, and you've got to be careful which owls you call. And so you can call a pearl-spotted owlet, but then you don't then, if you're sitting out at night, if you're one of those very avid bird watchers, you don't then call a Verreaux's eagle owl. Because then, of course, you've got a really serious chance that your Verreaux's eagle owl is going to come and grab your pearl-spotted owl, which they do. So it's something that must be done ethically, but can be done ethically, and can be incredibly rewarding because you end up having a conversation. Sorry, they're in a flat panic, these Franklin. You're very brave. What do you plan on doing now, little bird? I don't want to turn my engine on because I get such a fright. Oh, sorry. Beanie attack. Beanie attack. Beanie photobomb. Sorry, Deanna. I know that you did ask a question about the difference of an owlet versus an owl. And it doesn't have to do with size. Sorry, Franklin. Don't panic, I'm just coming through. It's actually not to do with their size. It is, there's a couple of different distinctions, but I think if I remember correctly, the main one is to do with the fake ear tufts that certain owls get. Now, it's a Scops owl, which is equally as small as the pearl-spotted owl, but a pearl-spotted owlet and an African barred owlet was an owl. Oh no, now I've confused myself, Deanna. Give me a second. I'm having a moment of brain confusion. There's some crossed wires in here. But it doesn't have to do with size. That much I can tell you. It doesn't have to do with size. I'm just trying to remember which way round it is. One of those things you'll never forget. It's just right now my wires have gone confused. But it doesn't have to do with their size. And I will remember. I promise you it'll come back to me and I'll come back to your question. But that was a really, really good spot on Gendre's part. But as we drive away from my fantastic conversation, Donna would like to know what I said in our conversation. And Donna, I think I probably said something along the lines of, hello, is this territory vacant? And our little pearl-spotted owl said, no, it isn't. And I said, okay, fair enough, and I drove away, much like this Dacre has now run away. Hello, little one, hold on. Is it going to come out into the open? I wonder if our cameraman ever sort of dread the Dacre sighting, although this is quite a nice one. They're just so incredibly nervous half the time. Little male, judging by the horns that I can see. Oh, thank you. Chose to walk into the clearing. The male has horns, the female has a mohawk. A black, spiky mohawk that sits in the middle of her head, much like my beanie is attempting to do. And essentially is a nature's way, like the warthog cheek tufts, nature's way of making her look more intimidating, like she has more weapons than she actually does. Alright, let us find out what Buffelshoek Dam has in store for us. And as I said, I'm still going to go and check that lion cub den. I haven't seen any tracks heading across in this direction. There's a chance, of course, that even if those are not her cubs at the kill, there's a chance that she's moved them either way to put them a little bit more central to the area that they're currently moving about in. How spoilt have we been with lion cub sightings, though? Between the Styx cubs and the Nkuhumas. Michael, you've asked a very pertinent question, seeing as Brent has had a day of trying to see 50 bird species throughout the sunrise and sunset safari. And Michael's question is, does anybody know how many bird species there are in the Kruger National Park? Yes, probably somebody does know how many there are. I can tell you that there's probably close to about 400. I can give you an estimate of how many bird species. But of course, bearing in mind, the wonderful thing about the Kruger National Park is how, because it's so incredibly big, it's also very long, which means that it moves through so many different types of habitat. You get some really fantastic birds very far north in an area called the Pafuri region and the Levuvu River, right up in the north of the Kruger, where it meets up with Zimbabwe and Botswana. Zimbabwe and Mozambique. You get some interesting and totally different bird species up in those riverine forests. And then you go through Mopani, and then you will go through the southern bushveld, more savanna-like areas. There are so many different types of areas that, as a result, there's an enormous diversity of birds. Now, somebody has done research into exactly how many species of birds there are in Kruger National Park. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I could give you a rough estimate. I would say probably around 400 or so, maybe even more. And then, of course, you also get, it depends on what you count as birds of the Kruger National Park, because you also get those rare once-off sightings like the Egyptian vulture that randomly turned up in the Kruger National Park about 3 years ago, that people were flying in from all over the country to go and see. Those once-off sightings that are just a little cross in a distribution map in a bird book. Well, I'm not sure. I don't think you should really count those as the total, towards the total number of birds in Kruger. But a very, very good question, a good point. And yes, there will be somebody out there that knows exactly how many birds or has a rough idea of exactly how many birds there are. Hello, Buffelshoek Dam. I'm going to work your magic. And also gives us a nice opportunity, like we spoke about earlier, to just see that unfortunately the very, very small amount of rain that we had has not made an enormous difference in terms of the amount of water. Oh, nice. A grey heron. Awesome, well done, Chandra. One grey heron. Almost always around Buffelshoek Dam. And then in terms of our regulars that we have come to get to know and expect at Buffelshoek Dam, we also have one hippopotamus, enjoying what little cover the dam has to offer. 2 Egyptian geese, which I may actually have parked Chandra behind a bush for. And you see that, oh no, you can't see them. 2 Egyptian geese, enjoying some time out from foraging. And then, of course, our very noisy buffalo weavers that are always in the Balanites tree, always busy, frantically nest building. It's a constant activity, despite the fact that these nests, I don't actually think these nests have grown in size since I started working here a year ago. And yet our buffalo weavers are such busy bees around them. And their intense concentration in terms of building their nests has to be vocalized at all times as they chat to each other. These really interesting bundles of what look like random bundles of sticks and twigs. Not actually the case at all. The nest of a buffalo weaver is a true engineering feat, thought out and carefully planned, with false entrances and a true entrance that is almost impossible to find. And the hapless predator that decides to attempt to raid a buffalo weaver's nest will find itself really struggling, because buffalo weavers build their nests out of thorn trees. So you can imagine what it's like trying to sneak in there, whether it's a harrier hawk. They also always build them often build them right on the edge of the branches. So for something like a harrier hawk that is an experienced nest raider, they would have to grip and try and find a way in there. Very, very tricky spot for them to get into. Snakes would have to navigate and try and find a way in. And it's constructed to actually, despite appearances, be incredibly strong. The only thing I can tell you is that you really, really, and I speak from experience, because it landed Emma, my best friend, on 3 weeks' worth of antibiotics. You really don't want to walk barefoot underneath a buffalo weaver's nest, because you will find a thorn in your foot. And in Emma's case, a thorn that went right through to the bone and wound up with a terrible infection. Chandra, you know about foot infection, don't you? Chandra, of course, yes, Chandra, of course, managed to find a rusty nail with the bottom of his foot, and as a result also had quite a serious infection. He is all better now. He's recovered, and he's managed to keep both his feet and all 10 toes. All 11 toes, I mean. All right. On that note, we are going to send you back across to Brent, who has done a wonderful thing and managed to negotiate his way back into a very special sighting.
There we go. So welcome back. Actually, behind that buffalo's rib cage, and I'm hoping it's going to pop out shortly, there's a cub getting really stuck into that meat. And there's actually cubs spread out all over the place. You can see about 4 or 5. And the lions have spread out quite a bit. 2 of the lionesses have moved towards the road. Apparently, while we're gone, a hyena came meandering down the road, and they went to chase it away. So we'll just wait here patiently. Look at that. Isn't that a silly looking face? That's got to be a boy. Only boys sit with their tongues out of their mouth like that. Not quite as elegant as the ladies. Oh, they are just too cute. Oh, it's going to sleep. Meat and milk in his belly. Heavy, heavy head. Very heavy head. Are we going to go all the way down? So, just to let you know, apparently there were 3 hyena, and the average rule for hyenas stealing kills from lions is, there we go, all the way down. You need 3 hyena per lioness. So, definitely not enough to put any pressure on the inkumas. Oh, woke up again. And of course, being a little lion cub is dangerous with all the other predators around, like hyenas. But normally, it's other lions that are the biggest killers of lion cubs. Oh, what's the female up to? She might move the carcass a bit, or she's looking to where those other lioness went off. She's going to tug the carcass a bit. Hopefully she pulls it into a position where we can see the cub if he's feeding on the other side. There we go, there's his head popping out. Settling down to feed. Ooh! Brave vulture just landed in front of me. Now, out of all the vulture species, there is the hooded vulture. Is going, that's where it looks like they actually made the kill. Just to the left of the vulture, I can see the stomach content. Now, with their small beak, it's not nearly as robust as the other vulture species. So they quite often will be able to pick up little scraps that the other vultures would ignore, being too small for them. So here you can see, looking around, looking around. Oh, and it's found something. See that, Dave? Found something there. Found a little... it's the stomach, the outer stomach lining. Here comes another one. Now, the lions heard that vulture land. She turned around and looked at what it was feeding off and has ignored it. If some of the bigger vulture species happen to come to the ground, the lions might not be so forgiving. Okay, oh, the cubby's coming out. Hello. Now, oh, look at that. And it looks like the cub's more playing with its food rather than eating it. Now, Alice in Ohio is wondering, do vultures only eat dead animals? 90% of their diet is made up of dead creatures. They will very, very seldom hunt. They prefer to scavenge. Where are you off to? Are we playing Stalk the Sleeping Cub? I think that's the game. Stalk the Sleeping Cub. And attack. Oh, that wasn't a very stealthy attack. See, they were watching the vulture that just landed behind me. You can see their eyes are fixed on it. I'm just trying to see where the other lionesses are. I don't have a visual of them at the moment. Oh, there's heavy heads getting a heavy head again to the right there. Oh, very heavy head. Watching the vultures here. If you can hear a hissing, almost like a shushing sound, that's the vultures behind me. You can see they're quite interested in the vultures. But will it be enough to keep those eyes open? I don't think so. He's watching the vultures. If we come out, let's just have a look at these vultures. There's some relatively interesting stuff happening that the lion cubs are watching. Oh, they've just stopped now, but they might do it again. So they're just up here next to me. And there's a bit of an argument going on about perching spots. So is that a great... There we go. Oh, there we go. Vulture fight. So who gets the best spot? Oh, this could get interesting. One of the bigger white-backed... Oh, is that a Cape vulture? Looks like it could be a Cape vulture. I can't really see through the bush at the moment. It's bigger than a white-backed vulture and pale. Has landed next to the hooded vultures. Now, if one of the lions who's gone off to chase something sees that on the ground, I'm not sure whether it's a Cape vulture. I can't really see through the thicket yet. But it could be Cape vultures around here very easily. So they're slightly paler and slightly bigger than the white-backed vulture. Joan was actually asking for a Cape vulture to add to her bird list. And they are sometimes a bit more brave. And they are slightly bigger. I think we might get a few more vultures coming onto the ground, and that could cause the lioness to chase them. So let's just watch what's happening here. Okay, let's just see. Now, what we're looking for is if that Cape vulture opens its wings, it's got much lighter underneath the wings, and also it's got a line of little black dots there. And a yellow eye. Can we see the eye color yet? It's one of the diagnosed features. It could just be a pale white back. I don't see a yellow eye, do you, Dave?
No, it looks black.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Where is it? Oh, come on, show us your head. There we go. It's a white-backed vulture. It's a very pale white-backed vulture. Okay. Now the cubs are actually just watching what all the vultures are up to. So it's just watching the vultures. It's like lion cub TV vultures. Okay, so I'm just going to be on the game drive for a little bit. Actually, I'll do it just now. But Deanna would like to know, what is the hierarchy with feeding between lion cubs and lionesses? Is there fighting? So what happens is the lionesses will actually fight with each other quite aggressively over the carcass. Now, a big carcass like this, and they've all full, it's not such a big issue. But if it had been a small carcass, like an impala or something, they will definitely fight. Oh, vultures flying in there. They just keep landing in this tree next to us and then coming down onto the ground where the stomach contents are. Okay. So, Dana, with the cubs, they'll be fighting amongst the cubs between each other, but at this age, the lionesses might snarl at them, might give them a bit of a tap, but there's unlikely to be any serious aggression while they're that little. They're still watching the vultures. Now, I can only see 3 cubs. I'm sure the other 3 are around somewhere. And I think we've got 2 different sets of cubs here. We've got the the slightly bigger ones, and then the little fluff balls. Now, as I said, Taxon seems to think, and he could be right. I mean, we haven't had the best view of them just yet, and long enough that this could be the third set of Nkuhuma cubs, and that lioness who was mating might have had cubs that whole time. But we're only going to be able to find that out in the next little while. Let's go back to the vultures. There's quite a lot happening there. You can see the lions looking at them. So, oh, a tawny eagle's just landed as well, right at the top. So, eagles also definitely not scared of a bit of scavenging. So, a tawny eagle. But the vultures on the ground are starting to fight a bit. And we can see we've got two different species on the ground there. And Mohammed in Doha is saying, is it common to have multiple species of vultures around a carcass? Oh, there's one about to land in, Dave. Just stay there. Boom. Not the most graceful landing. And Mohammed, it is. We've seen 3 different species of vulture. There's only one vulture species left that we get in this area that we haven't seen just yet. And that is the white-headed vulture. It's also the rarest vulture species. That's a hooded vulture there. Now, if any more vultures come down, it might tempt the lions into... Okay, here it comes. So, watch it. As I said, the vultures, just like hyenas, they irritate lions. So she might, because they're starting to make a noise, they're starting to flap around, she might see them off. Is that amber eyes? I think it is. Oh, is she going to chase them? Maybe not. So I've just heard that the other 3 lionesses actually... Here she goes. Here she goes. There you go. So not the most energetic chase, but back in the tree. Back in the tree, you terrible creatures. There we go. So at Treehouse Dam, there are actually 3 lionesses at the moment. They might be going to look in that little hole where the elephants dig water. Oh, she's scent marking after her successful chase of the vultures. And she showed them. There you go. You can see that's not one of the lactating females. I go back to the carcass. I think they might be heading for water, the other 3 lionesses. Now, it is getting quite dark, so I don't want to spend... Oh, we've got some nice fighting going on. Talk about, you can see where the word pecking order comes from when you watch vultures. Let's see if they still continue to peck each other. There we go. Of course, those beaks could do some serious damage. They're able to open up carcasses. I really love the way vultures move. It is quite comical. Now, James is wondering how long it takes a juvenile vulture to get its adult. There we go, here we go. Peck, peck, peck. The adult. Now, there's plenty of room for both of them, but obviously it is quite interesting. And those are white-backed vultures. So I'm just going to be on the Game Drive channel for a second. Right. There we go. Yeah, I was the bomber's at Chelepan junction with Weaver's Nest. So we probably are northeast of those 305, so they could be heading back here. There's the Tawny Eagle. It sounds like those other 3 lions are on their way back. Oh, there we go. As you say that, another lioness appears out of the bush. Maybe it's the 4th one or the 5th one. So there's 3 that Elvis is following, and this one's just appeared out of the bush. Stopping at the exact same spot for a sniff of the scent mark, it looked like. It's one of the lactating females. She's calling. So she's probably calling for the little... Oh, here we go. All the lions are arriving back. But let's just stick on the one who's calling, because she might want to call those 3 other cubs. There's one of her cubs to the left of us and who's responding. There's other mom, so now we know who the 2 moms are from the calling. We've got a mom either side. She's going to walk right past us, right next to Dave. Dave, you better behave yourself. Let's come this side. There's going to be either a fight or a greet. Oh, you could hear the growling of the female as soon as she started moving towards that carcass. Oh, it's such a cute noise. Let's just come off to the left where the cubs are. So the cub on the far right, there we go, that one belongs to the new ones that we don't know too well, or that we've seen for the first time today, I think. So confusing, so many cubs. Can you guys hear that? Isn't that awesome? I'm just going to keep quiet while there's a bit of calling going on. Oh, they'll stretch. Let's see where that other lion is. She went behind Dave. I can't see her at the moment. Bite each other. So 2 lionesses have come back. Well, you actually see quickly to the adult female. She was trying to pull the buffalo away from the other lioness, even though the other lioness isn't really feeding it. She got it stuck. Oh, there we go. She's going to walk to the cubs now. See that snarl as she goes past. My meat. There we go, calling the cubs. can just hear the other lioness calling very softly behind me somewhere. I can't see her. I think she's going to lie down quite close to the cubs there. There we go. Flop. Oh, hi, Ma. So, look at them clambering all over Mom. One's already started suckling. Oh, isn't that just too precious? Bite you. I'm trying to drink here. Oh, can you hear the noise again? Oh, you got two are suckling now. The third's got a toy, a piece of buffalo dung, and he's throwing around. That didn't taste very nice. Watching the vulture fly up off the ground. Playing with the buffalo dung. He's killing it. So all these little games that little cubs play are very important, and that's practice for later on in life. And you don't have to teach a lion how to hunt. It's got that knowledge instinctively. They are the supreme African predator. Thirsty little tykes. So Haley's noticed that the little lion cubs are quite spotty on their heads and on their legs, and she's wondering why. Well, Haley, when the mothers leave them to go off hunting, it's to help. Oh, listen. Hyena's calling. Whoop. Wonder if it's calling for backup. Sorry, Haley. I got sidetracked by that hyena calling. Haley's wondering why they're spotty, and it's when they're young, it's to help with their camouflage, because the mom has to leave them. Oh, he's got the buffalo dung. Oof. The mothers have to leave them while they go hunting. So when that spottiness helps break up their outline, and so they can hide better from other predators. Having great fun with that piece of buffalo dung. Here comes the other mom. Just chat, Elvis. There's 3 more Mampimpan that side. Oh, they're coming. Oh, yeah, they come. They're not very relaxed, these ones. Here they come. Here come the little guys. See, just sitting patiently pays off. All the noises. Look at their little ones. They've just keep on the adult to the right. There might be a bit of a... And no, she's lying down, don't worry. I thought she was going for the carcass. There might be a bit of an argument if she had. Oh, look at these little ones. Making all this. Oh, you can hear the other ones feeding on mom behind the bush quite aggressively. Now those are little lion growls you can hear. Oh, the 5th lioness looks like she's stalking hyena. So there were 3 hyena around. And I've just spotted her just up ahead here. She's moving that way, but she's down in a stalk. I've lost sight of her now. I'm just trying to see if we can pick up the movement. She was moving through here. And her ears were flat. Can't see her now. Okay, I'll keep an eye on that area. Look at that. I wonder where the 3rd one is. Isn't it around somewhere? Now, I'm trying to remember from seeing that female mating. Didn't she have a wound on her left or right side? But that was Amber Eyes who had that. Oh, look at that. Oh, just too cute. So fluffy. Oh, here comes that last lioness. So all 5 lionesses are accounted for. There she comes. Now, Zoe is asking, have the Nkumas had successful litters before these? They've had quite a few, Zoe. One of the adult lionesses is the last successful litter, and of course then there was Junior as well. And see, there's a 3rd female with suckle marks. The conundrum continues. Poof. So there could still be more cubs around. So it is getting quite dark. We're not going to stay here for too much longer. Isn't it wonderful to be able to enjoy these almost sort of secret moments in lion life? And it is incredible that we are sitting here and you guys are watching tiny little lion cubs suckle at the exact same time as we are. And in the middle of the bush, we're able to bring you a live safari. Oh, there's a little... Oh, just come. There's a little one coming through towards the carcass. Not sure if it wants to feed. Looks like it's smelling something. Hi, Kim. Kim is in sunny Florida. Kim would like to know, would the female cubs stay with the pride even when they're adults? I think it's scared of the buffalo. There we go. And Kim, yes, they will. So the only time females will leave their natal pride is when they get very, very big, sort of over 25, 30 individuals, and it becomes difficult to provide enough food. Then the pride splits normally. But at a pride this size, the female cubs will stay with their moms and aunts. Little guy sneaking off back to the drainage. Oh no, he stopped for a lie down. Oh, she's going to pull the carcass. Look at those three little hooligans attacking the buffalo's ear. Biting its nose, biting its ear. They're not really feeding on the meat, they're just playing. Isn't this just wonderful to sit here and watch these little balls of cuteness? Oh, look at those claws coming out. Using them to hook. Of course, those claws are going to become very deadly weapons in a few years' time. Who knows maybe we have some of the future buffalo hunting experts in the making. So we heard that hyena calling. I wonder if it's going to be calling for backup. But so, as I was saying, on average, there's 5 adult lionesses here. So you'd need at least 15 hyenas, possibly a few more, to be able to push them off this carcass. It's trying to have a scratch and still play with that buffalo nose. Well, it's decided the nose is far more entertaining. And the 2 little ones who are not used to cars are literally fascinated by us. They're just sitting watching Elvis and myself. You can see they're a little bit younger. I think Saxon might be right. They are a little bit younger than the other 3, but I don't know if they are as young as those ones that were at Buffelshoek Dam. It's going to be really fascinating to see what happens. Oh, look at that. That is just so wonderful. Little fluff monsters. So you can see they've just come out of the den, and they still feel safer in a thicket, so they constantly go into that little thicket and then lie down in there. Even though Mom's right there, they're not used to all the hustle and bustle of the pride. You can see those 3 have been with the pride for a bit longer. Quite comfortable around a buffalo carcass. So we're going to leave shortly, as it's getting a bit dark and we don't want to be hanging about here. Oh, let's just see where that female goes. If she goes to start feeding, we could get a little bit of aggression from the other female. But I think she's just going to lie down. Isn't this just splendid? So I said we're going to leave, we're going to close the sighting, and we'll have to come and see what's happened overnight. First thing tomorrow morning. So while we leave the Nkuhumas to, oh, just wait 1 second, what happens now? Enjoy their buffalo. Is there going to be one last little argument before we leave? What's going to happen? These little kids are actually feeding rather than playing now, and you hear them growling at each other. Right, let's leave the Nkahumas to their dinner, and while we do that and navigate out of this area, and let's go see what Jamie's been up to.
I've been patiently sitting with a batelier that I was most desperate to show you, but unfortunately, and absolutely rightly so, the cubs took 100% precedence. We were with that batelier right up until 30 seconds ago when it flew away. So such is life, and we are moving on to search for other things. It's even for a batelier, it is getting a little bit dark. So while Brent has been luxuriating in the joy that is a cub sighting with little lions crawling everywhere, Jandre and I have been entertaining ourselves. Well, we've been trying to look for things to show you, but we've also been entertaining ourselves trying to mimic the different animal sounds. We started out with the monkey alarm call, and Jandre does similar to my monkey alarm call. It could either be a monkey or a Donald Duck impression, and you're never quite sure what exactly is going to come out. You know that... Ooh. No, you see, there was Donald Duck again. Oh no, it's all gone. It's all gone wrong. And then we were just thinking about all of the other really difficult animals to do an impression of. I mean, the pearl-spotted owlet is really easy because it's a whistle. And the Coqui Franklin's relatively easy. The batelier is the last one, the sound. And then we got onto the more difficult ones, like the African fish eagle, which I absolutely cannot do. See, that I don't even know what that's meant to be. Now, all in all, we've come to the conclusion, Jandre and myself, that neither of us should give up our day job in order to become animal imitators, and that award goes 100% to Brian, the cameraman who is, of course, on leave at the moment and hopefully having a joyous time in Johannesburg. So no more animal impressions for us, Jandre. Sorry to say. And it's amazing, there are some guys that can do amazing things with animal impressions. Oh, wow! Sorry, I was about to sneeze. So, Elaine, thank you so much for your info that you sent through. And I didn't even begin to imagine that there were that many birds. I knew that there were lots of birds in South Africa. I didn't realize how many there were in the Kruger National Park. So Elaine has sent through some info on the number of birds in the Kruger National Park. 851, apparently, recorded species, including 9 that have been introduced. Oh, sorry, 858, including 9 that have been introduced and 51 that are endemic. So thank you so much, Elaine. And that was to answer Michael's question, who asked about 31, being shouted at by Jerry. 30 endemic. Sorry, Jerry. Sorry, Elaine. Sorry, everybody. 31 endemic. I was going to say, 51 is a lot of endemic species. So 31 endemic, and that is in answer to Michael's question about how many recorded bird species there are in the Kruger National Park. Isn't that incredible? Your chances of seeing 851, as I said here, 58, sorry, seeing that many bird species here is relatively unlikely, since we just don't have that same level of diversity as we have throughout the entire Kruger. But it does make you realize why the Kruger National Park is such a place for the avid birders to flock to. Ha, get it? To flock to, that was unintentional, in order to find all of the birds of their dreams. And there are some really incredible birds. I mean, Brent and myself went up to Pafuri in March, and we saw some really interesting sights, even just the trumpeter hornbill, which I've seen many, many times before, but it's just one that we never ever see down here. So, Michael, I do hope that you're still watching and that you got that little update from Elaine. And Elaine, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And I won't ever forget the number 858. It was 858, right? Yes, 858. And if I ever forget it, Sherry will shout at me. So 858 birds recorded in the Kruger National Park. Awesome. I found out something today, sorry, and I'm going to go do some more research into it, but it's something really, really interesting. And I'm actually not going to move this land snail shell. And the reason is it looks like there might, I don't know, there's potentially something living underneath it or in it. But I discovered something about these land snail shells that I never knew before. The other day we had a hole drilled that I thought might have been made by a wasp species that had been sort of, it looked like it had been drilled into a land snail shell. Now I found out from Taylor, actually, it was from Taylor, that the fireflies, sorry I forgot the word there for a second, fireflies will actually be the ones responsible for parasitizing land snails. I had no idea that was the case. But really, really interesting. They lay their eggs and the larvae actually will parasitize the land snail. How interesting is that? I don't know exactly how it works. Something that I still want to look into and do some research on. I mean, we didn't see any fireflies, did we, in summer? I don't think we did. I don't remember seeing any fireflies or glowworms in summer. It's just one of those seasons where I think it was just too dry here, although it was my first summer in the northern Sabi Sands, so I don't know whether or not they are commonly seen here. We used to get them all the time where I used to work, and they're amazing creatures. That chemical reaction going on inside their abdomens to create the blinking lights. And I think fireflies is something that I would say most of our audience will have experienced at some point in their life, seeing them. Truly incredible creatures. So there you go, a little piece of information I did not know about fireflies or land snails, that the larvae of the land snails, the larvae of the fireflies will parasitize giant land snails. That's what I love about being out here. You always learn something new, but also everybody has something new to offer. Everybody has their own unique knowledge, which is why it is such a privilege to work with a diverse team of guides. Basically, you can pick their brains. And now we head into the night. Jandre says he feels like an aardvark sighting. Can you smell the potato bush, Jandre? As we go through here, let me just look for it. Oh, sorry, Wendy. Somewhere in this dip, there is a tree called a potato bush. And there's a wonderful story written by Veronica Root. Veronica Root has written some amazing books on the different tree species. I can't see it, and it is actually quite a tricky tree to see. There's a tree called a potato bush that is called a potato bush because it genuinely, the flowers really, really smell like cooking potatoes. It's a wonderful smell. It makes you immediately look around for whoever might be cooking. And there's a story from Veronica Root, who has a fascination with all things plant-based. She's written some amazing books of the Botswana, of the plants of Botswana and the flowers and so on. And apparently when she first started doing the research into these different species, and she was in Botswana, she stopped and she asked an old local man where the cooking potatoes were. She obviously didn't know associated with the plant. And he sort of laughed and shook his head, but obviously couldn't speak English, and just pointed at a tree. And she convinced herself that he didn't understand what she was asking. And off she went on her way, and it was only later that she discovered that he'd been pointing to the potato bush because it smells like cooking potatoes. It's one of those uniquely African scents. And it's one that I always associate with summer, but you do get the odd one that flowers. They actually can flower pretty much almost all year round. So now we go off searching for nocturnal creatures. As I said, Jandre feels an aardvark sighting. I'm still on a porcupine mission. I keep driving the places where I've seen porcupines before. No, I mean porcupine tracks, that is. No luck. I've yet to see a porcupine on Djuma, but I feel as though our luck will change. And when things start to happen in the future, not giving too much away, not giving much away at all, but perhaps there will be opportunities in future to explore the nocturnal life of the bushveld in a little bit of greater depth than we're able to do now. Hello, Impala. Let's turn my lights off. Oh, goodness. Lots of Impala. And funnily enough, for James Dungan, no, not as far as I know. I don't think that the potato bush is, any part of the potato bush is actually edible, or at least in any way nutritious for us as human beings. I don't think it's toxic. As far as I know, it's not toxic, but it won't provide you with much apart from maybe a little bit of moisture that it will have stored in its root system. But other than that, not really. There's not much actually edible to it, and that smell of the flowers attracts certain species. I think it's certain species of moth that are attracted to that smell, that fertilize, pollinate the other potato bushes, but might be other insects as well. But nope, there's nothing that tastes like potato or is in any way related to any kind of what we know of as potato plants. And of course, potatoes are essentially tubers underneath the ground. The other reason we're here, by the way, on the southern boundary, is I'm now desperately curious as to where Karula really is, because we usually have quite a good idea. She disappears for every couple of days, but most of the time we know, okay, she's crossed to the south, or she's gone in our direction, she's somewhere here. But it's been a while, it's been at least 3 days since we last saw a fresh Karula track, probably more. So she's around. I just get very curious as to where she might be, because we've got very used to knowing where she is, approximately where she is. We don't know exactly, but we do get an idea as to what area she's walking in. Light's very difficult for tracking, but so far I haven't seen any sign of her coming across the road. It's actually quite a nice idea. I'm going to stop a bit further on and just listen to how the sounds of the bush have changed since the rain. I know there's unfortunately power lines affecting our view, but just listen. Lots and lots of cicadas and crickets all of a sudden. The bush recently, there you go, the bush recently has been almost silent at night in winter. You know, odd cicada every now and again. Now it feels as though it's coming back to life. It's just those few drops of moisture that we experienced. So whilst it's not enough to fill up the dams or change the food situation, the animals are still happy to have had it. Beautiful. Songs of the bush at night. We're going to carry on along the southern boundary to see what we can see in the last few minutes of the sunset safari. And while we do that, let's head back across to Brent and find out how he plans on spending the last few moments.
Well, as Jamie's saying, we do not know where Karula is at the moment. And I am taking a little gander down towards Gallagher Pan. And when we haven't seen leopard for a while, it's always a good spot to come check at this time of the day. And Mvula might come here for a drink, Tingana, Cindy, or even Queen Karula herself. So it's going to be interesting to see. Also, I'm going to be able to fetch my camera trap. So I'm going to take it down, see what we manage to get over the day and night, and see if it's worthwhile keeping it up in that spot. I actually think what I should do in the future is bring out spare cards so I can leave the trap up and just take out the memory card. There we go, at the pan. Oh, no leopards. Nothing, in fact. It's a very, very beautiful evening. It's got quite a bit cooler. As you can see, jackets are on. Now, let's look from the tracks around here. Let's hope. Oh dear. That's not good. Oh no, it is there. Oh, I made an elephant and stolen the camera trap. Here we go. Here it is. Just go get it quickly. And we'll see how many pictures we got. But we're going to have to wait till tomorrow to see what's on the card. What do you think, Dave? What do we got? Hyena, I think, is a good bet. I'm just trying to look at any tracks, but it's rained, so we don't even know. I know for sure it's got me. I have to tie it up quite so I didn't do that. Catch whatever might go past. I think we might get a civet there. I'm really hoping for something. Oh, sorry, I think it's my facing, but I'm really hoping for something like a caracal. Wouldn't that be cool? So there's probably going to be a few pictures of us. So let's see. It tells me how many pictures have been taken. Maybe some Ellies during the day. There's only 24, so not that much came past here last night. So I think there's at least probably 10 of us. So we're going to have to wait. It's so exciting. That's one thing I do love about camera traps, is you never know what you're going to get on them. Maybe even Queen Karula. Okay. Now, tomorrow morning, I will be taking some time off from the bird quiz because Jamie and I are going to swap vehicles, and what that means is this is the birding camera, so maybe we'll get see if Jamie can get 50 birds on the camera, and then we'll do the same the next time we're on Rusty. Oh, there's a little duiker sleeping there. Got excited, thought we might have a genet or something, but unfortunately not. Now, I don't know, as Jamie mentioned, it's incredible how the insects have come to life after that little bit of rain. This is always a good area for bush babies, so hopefully we're going to find one, or maybe even two. they'll be very happy that the insects are out. One of their favorite foods is insects. Wasn't it absolutely wonderful spending time with those little cubs? And there's a conundrum to be solved, is that did that mating female actually still have her cubs? Because there are definitely 3 lactating lionesses still. So are the little ones from Buffalo's Hook still in the drainage systems? I think it might need a bit of serious investigation. And it's going to be very interesting if we get there and there are only 4 lionesses there. I thought I saw an eye in the bottom of that bush. Sometimes you just take your light down like that and put it up. Whatever it is, it's scurried off. Now, Jean says, were there only 5 cubs there? Jean, I thought I saw 6, but I was just quite excited, so there could have only been 5. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait till tomorrow. Okay, now, Dave, you're not going to believe me, but if you zoom in the center of that spotlight, let's have a look. So I need to watch monitor. Maybe if I move it a little bit. Okay, so let me just try to see. Okay, right where the main brightness of the spotlight is in the middle. You're not going to believe me, but it's a bit small. There's a little wolf spider. I can't see him now, he's moved. I'll keep a lookout, but certain spider species' eyes shine at night. The wolf spiders being one of them, and they can get quite big. That one was a bit small. Maybe I can find one, a bigger one to show you. There's one out in the open, even though it is a little one. Okay, center of the light. You see him? Okay, I'm just trying to... Okay, so you see that little open patch of ground? There we go. There we go. Up a little bit. See, center frame now? There's the spider. There we go. Look at him. Isn't that incredible? Down a bit. There we go. See him now? There we go. So I can actually see their eyes shining at me. So there's little wolf spiders. Incredible little predators that scurry around on the ground, hunting for other spiders, insects. And even some of the really big species of wolf spider have been recorded catching mice and birds. That is definitely not one that's going to catch a mouse or a bird. Probably about the size of a penny. Okay, let him carry on in his hunting. Anyway, so there's always something to look at, and if you know where to look and if you're prepared to just look that little bit deeper. I wonder what other nocturnal wonders are going to be out here. So we're going to go check one last little bush baby hot spot, and once we've gone through there, if we have no success, we'll send you back to Jamie for the last little bit of the show. But it has been absolutely splendid spending time with you out here in the African bush on a live African safari, and I really do love being able to share my passion and love for that Africa with all of you out there at home. And don't forget, we'll be sharing love and passion about the African bush again tomorrow morning from 6:30 a.m. Central African time to 9:30. So no bush baby in my bush baby hotspot. So while we continue on, see if we can find anything in the last few minutes of drive. Let's go see what Jamie's got.
I really hope I have a hyena for you. The other right, the other left. Got it. There you go. Oh, don't go, hyena. I was really desperate to try and get here before the hyena disappeared because we've had hardly any hyena sightings. And I would love to know which particular individual this happens to be. Our hyenas have moved their den site away from where they have been in the past, and they've left us bereft of their company. I wonder, can we do this? Can we get round to the other side? How long have we got before the end of the...
3 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Jeandre. Okay, let's do this. Come on. Challenge accepted. Is there a tree behind me? Good. I can't see anything with the presenter light on behind me. So, you know, it's all a risk. Let's go see who it is. I'm desperate. I'm desperate for hyena sightings, for some spotty love. Oh, 3 minutes. Can we do it? We can try. Down to the wire. 2 minutes, 30. Oh no. Hold on, everybody. I'm doing this one-handed with a spotlight in my other hand. We might die, Jeandre. You trust me? Well, we are on a very narrow damn wall, and I'm driving with one hand. And hold on. Hold on. Go, we're going in second. We're going in second. Whee! Where's the hyena now? Come on, hyena. Oh, careful, Impala. Careful, don't panic. Don't panic. Hyena! Come on. Oh, 1 minute 40 to find the hyena. Okay, slow down here. I think it's going to come up. If I calculate its trajectory, it should pop out, should have popped out somewhere here. Oh, the anticipation is killing me. Hyena. Come on. Come on. Tick, tick, tick goes the clock as I scoot around. Oh no. Oh no, it must have a secret path through the thick stuff, because it definitely isn't here. I'm trying to listen for its footsteps, because hyenas are noisy walkers. We're not going to do it. We're not going to manage it. I'm sorry. We tried. We have actually come to the end of our... We have come to the end of our sunset safari. So a big thank you to Jeandre for all of his fantastic camera work, as well as to Jerry and Chelsea, and I think Rebecca also in final control. Most importantly, a big thank you to all of you across the globe for joining us here on our sunset safari. We look forward to seeing you once again first thing tomorrow morning. In the meantime, have a wonderful day or evening. Bye-bye, everybody.